Well, hello everyone, it's Kari, and today I'm excited to be with you to share with you some of my ideas for a little gift. These are little notebooks that are multicolored, and I have created a few of my favorite designs inside the notebook using a stencil, a stamp, and just a few other little simple things to create some personalized notebooks. These ones are for my family, but you could also use them for friends, for birthdays, or just to give a little bit of encouragement. Also perfect for New Year's resolutions, positive affirmations, or goals, and that's why I thought this would be really fun for the new year. So I'm going to show you how I created all of these notebooks. I made 6 sets of these. I figured if I'm making these, I might as well make a whole bunch of them, right? So each of these sets had 12 little notebooks in them, and I'll link below where I got these notebooks, where I found them. This first one that I designed was the light blue one that I showed you at the beginning, and that was my Alice one. Of course, one of my favorites from Missing Stamps is the Alice collection. So I used one of my favorite sentiments and stamps for that, and the background stencil. And now I'm going to create the Queen of Hearts notebook, which of course is going to be red. And I'm using this Alice background stencil pack. Now there are 3 different stencils in this stencil pack. It's one of my favorites because you could change it up and do whatever you want. I started out with a really light gray diamond, and now I'm putting some red hearts in between those diamonds. But you could put the hearts, or you could use the smaller diamonds inside the bigger diamonds. You could mix and match or switch up where you stencil those diamonds. You could make Argyle if you wanted to with this set. It's really a fun stencil set, but I thought I would keep it kind of simple with just the gray here and the red. And now I'm choosing which Queen of Hearts I want to use. So now that I have that stenciled, I'm going to set that aside and stamp out all the Queen images that I need. So for example, this one I'm going to stamp 6 of them, and I'm going to color most of them off screen, but I will show you a portion of how I colored this one. Each time I color the Queen of Hearts, I try to do something just a little bit different than the time I colored it before. So for this one, I've decided to give her a red dress with red hearts, and then that center portion of the dress is going to be a dark gray, almost black. So I'm using a couple of shades of red to color in the bodice of her dress, and then I'm also going to use that for the outer part of her dress here. It's almost like the cape portion, and then also for her sleeves. So just a couple shades. It's a small enough image that you can get away with 2 shades of red. I usually try to keep it low when you have small areas to color, but you could easily add a 3rd or a 4th color if you wanted to. I think that looks pretty good like that. I'm going to give her some red shoes also, just simply using one of the shades for that. And then I'm going to go in and color those sleeves. Aren't those the coolest, fluffiest sleeves? I love them. So there we go, just coloring that in. And I also decided to give her some red stripes on the top neck portion of the dress. Now I'm coming in with some neutral grays, and I'm going to draw in some of the lines that might be on her dress to denote light and dark folds in the fabric. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just color it in the way you would normally color it in. I like adding a little bit extra movement if I can. So I'm going to just add these neutral grays just like this. I decided to bring in a light blue for the color behind the hearts and also the trim on her dress. It's a little bit of a nod to Alice for this, and just a little bit of subtle color. I'm just using one color on that as well. I'm going to add a little more detail later, so that's going to be good just like that. For her skin tones, I'm using one of my favorite skin tone combinations right now, which is this E04, E11, and E00. And that's going to be a very simple blend today. I do add a little bit of color of pink to her cheeks also, just give her a little rosy tone. But see how quick and simple I'm just coloring her. There's R11 right there. See the little cheeks. You can barely see it in the video. In real life, you can see it much better. I'm going to darken those up just a little bit, going in one more time, which is usually what I do when I color a Copic image. Next, I'm going to come in with some browns for her hair. And to make this nice and simple, because I am coloring quite a few of these images for all my notebooks, I'm just using 2 shades of brown, E55, and then coming in with the E57 to give some dark areas. And I'm also adding some small little C shapes to make it look kind of curly. Then I'm going to blend that through with the E55 once again. And that's all for her hair. See? Nice and simple. So I'm just going to cut this out using the coordinating die, and thank heavens for these coordinating dies. I'm so happy that Miss Ink carries them now. I did cut it a little bit off center, but that's okay. You're not going to be able to tell once I add it to the notebook. And next time I will cut it better, I promise. I'm adding some small little dots to the trim on her dress. Just like that. I was going to make little hearts, but I decided no, it just needs dots today. Although I have done little hearts in the past. But look at that. How cute does she look on that background? Now I'm going to add a little sentiment just below her here. And this one is another one of my favorites. It says, oh gosh, now I can't remember what it says. Let's see. Let's stamp that out. Let the heads and the good times roll. Let the heads and fun times roll. There we go. So you see I did tape that into my MISTI a little bit, but I used my magnet as well. But that was just to keep the whole notebook closed while I stamped it. So it just makes it super, super simple to do it that way. And to add the image to my notebook, I am just going to add a little liquid adhesive. This is my favorite right now, which is the Bearly Arts glue. There we go. And just to add a little bit of a shadow underneath her, I'm taking a light gray colored pencil, adding a little tiny shadow, and that's going to finish this notebook. Look how cute that is. So isn't that a fun little opening to the notebook? And there's my Alice notebook. These are so fun to give as gifts and also much appreciated. So I'm going to go through and do all of them in kind of a batch order. So I'm doing all the stenciling first. I tape off the side, do all the stenciling, and then stamp the sentiment. And then I take that tape off and add it to my next one. Then I colored all those images at the same time. And now I'm going to just add the images. So you can see how fast it is. Well, of course on the video it's fast. It's the magic of editing. But in real life, as I do it in batch order like this, you go through these notebooks very, very quickly. So you can easily make a nice group for each of your family members if you want to, or friends, whoever you like the most. So there I've finished another notebook just like that. And I'm going to go through and glue all of those images in now to all the notebooks because they're already all stenciled and ready to go. Once I glue in the image, I add a little bit of a shadow with a colored pencil, and that's it. So now I wanted to have the names of my recipients on there, so I'm going to use this modern Typeset frame die for the alphabet. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I can't think of anything better than to add the letters with glitter. So I'm taking some glitter cardstock here, and I'm adding some double-sided adhesive to the back. What this is going to do is turn it into a sticker once I cut out those letters. So you can see I've added it to the back, but it's not quite wide enough. So I'm adding a little more down here at the bottom, and I'll just trim it with my non-stick scissors, my favorite non-stick scissors. And now I can cut out the alphabet a couple of times. And lucky for me, I had enough letters to spell out all of the names of my recipients, just cutting it out a couple of times. So see, I'll cut it out twice. You can barely see it. But I am going to give each one of them a set and tie it up with a ribbon. So I'm either going to put it down here at the bottom or near the top. I think I'm going to do it near the top actually. So what I do is I just find the letters. Now with the glitter paper, it's a little more difficult for me to see. But I did find the J here, and I'm going to place that down. But then I realized something very important, and that is I needed to start with the last letter of the name so that I could get it lined up just right. I wasn't sure how much room it was going to take up on my notebook. So instead of starting with the J, I'm spelling out my sister's name, Julie, I start with the last letter, which in her case is I. J-U-L-I. So I start with the I, then I find the L and I put the L down, and then I spell it, I go backwards and spell the name. So for me, that's what worked the best on these notebooks, because then I could make sure I wasn't going to go off the edge of the notebook, as you might when you're putting down letters starting at the beginning like that. And then I just made sure they were lined up, and now I'm going to tie all of these notebooks together. Now, I wasn't finished with all the notebook designs when I did this video, but I finished them off screen, and so I do have a few more to show you. I was reserving the pink and the green one for a very special stamp set, which I don't have yet. So I didn't actually finish the pink and green. I did go through and use some of my other favorite stamps at stencils, dies, and stickers to finish out these. And the reason I did some of these designs was because it reminded me of people in my family, like things they loved, animals they liked, favorite designs and things like that. And so that's how I designed all of these. But look how pretty they are all stacked together. Isn't that fun? So look at all the Queen of Hearts, but how adorable. With the Queen of Hearts, with Alice, some of my favorite from the collection, just so sweet. I hope you enjoyed this idea today. Again, you can use these for really great things for the new year, like dreams you've had, goals, attributes you want to cultivate, or attributes you admire in others, great ideas, things like that. If you enjoyed this video and these ideas, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be back with more ideas in the new year. I'll see you next year. Bye-bye.